Hello. I don't usually do this, but I've been specially requested to give my thoughts on an album of someone I personally know. Now, usually this is a big red no-no due to having personal connections and may create a bias. However, it seems he's very passionate that I keep it real. So the best thing to do in this situation is be professional and keep it a buck 50. You a buck 50. September 3rd by The Citizen. For all the viewers out there who most likely don't know, The Citizen is a 15-year-old producer, singer, songwriter, rapper, engineer, guitarist, maybe plays more instruments, and all-around talent, making big dreams happen from the barren wasteland that is Nebraska. This is, I believe, his junior LP. Take that with a grain of salt. And as always, he keeps the people on their toes when it comes to his sound. Versatility, to put it simply. September 3rd has us grasping a hold of his inner voice, taking a front seat dive into this conceptual love life of his. The opener titled Mine kicks things off with a ballad, giving a smooth and soft touch that easily connects us to his message. The production is lightly structured, leaving room for understanding and catching the rhythm. The beat is more on the lo-fi side of things, which you could say helps the song hold overall, but personally it doesn't do much for me. I enjoy the energy and it's catchy in its own merits, and this intro definitely sets the tone of the album. The whole track is concise and doesn't waste any time getting to the point of what our story will be. You even get a quick verse from Lamar, or Tay Virgo, whichever one he goes by right now, I guess. The songwriting has its moments, and in general it's plausible if we're looking at it from the perspective of romance. If we're speaking technically, I know the extents Citizen is capable of when it comes to provoking the listener. I want to feel the emotion for myself, really captivate my soul. This man has the capabilities to go above and beyond the norms of R&B radio. Silk, in my opinion, serves more as a bridging extension of the opening, almost like an echo. This kind of plays more into the slow turn of events throughout the soft-spoken and quaintly produced track. My understanding is that he wants to hold this fainting love together, pleading to be in her graces, but the interest won't budge. The mixing here is sweet and calming. I also enjoy the repeated chord structure and how it always ends off with those two higher plucks and then restarts accordingly. Not too much to gravitate to, however, with how quick it rolls by. I will say I am reminded of Billie Eilish, and specifically her record titled Goodbye on When We All Fall Asleep. And as far as pros and cons go, I do enjoy falling into the faint subtlety of his vocals, sort of bringing a zen-like state. The mixing, the quality, the guitar work, everything down to the molecule is very professional on his end. All I Ever Had starts off with nicely touched sampling, hi-hats, and slow-paced keys. The beat evolves nice and quick while moving things along smoothly, but the vocals, in my opinion, are a mixed bag at hand. The singing isn't bad, but his voice has a bit of a rough edge, sort of a rasp. As the vocals are pretty raw on the track, you notice the little things between the notes you hit and the range reached. In some moments, the rough feel works, but at other times, it can be a bit out of touch, especially when trying to pull off harmonies on that same exact track. I will say I enjoy how the theme continues to arch throughout the track list, suggesting that the story will be properly seen through to the end. I do personally have fun with albums that are thematic and give a good little story. Citizen pretty much reaches out with his emotions, giving the sentiment that he's still in a helpless love with this ex of his. However, the ties are broken and all he can do is swallow the pain at one point. Even he's willing to take the blame. Very heartfelt in its meaning, with some tweaks needed in its overall execution. As we venture toward the end of the first half, I get locked in the sights of the song titled Hurt. Possibly my favorite to come out of this LP. Not only is it the most professionally engineered thus far, but also the writing, vocal delivery, pacing, performance in general is just nothing short of sweet. It's graceful, it's the most heartfelt, the most moving. I will give credit where it's due. I'm placed in a vast, empty world with no saturation, just aching thoughts. The song speaks on depression due to heartache, mental health issues, feeling helpless, and does so in a descriptive, careful manner. Everything within this track takes it easy on its listeners. Citizen gets his point across and possibly gives many listeners something they can relate to. When you communicate through your music, you may just reach someone who needs it most. Then you kind of give them this feeling of not being alone and a song to fall back on during dark times. The melody that constantly repeats in the background gives such a good ambient energy, reminiscent of Godspeed You or M83. The track paints a picture and is presented to us just right, in my opinion. Second half of the album begins with Famous Life, featuring Blake Cossey. formerly known by the alias Rockstar Raggy. Together they give us a fresh restart in direction, entering this rugged, non-caring display of attitude. The beat starts off empty with light sampling and distant strings that complement the overall feel of the song thus far. Things move along as the beat taps into a fluid hip-hop energy being fulfilled as the verses from both artists do the production justice. Citizen owns his pain and succumbs to the numbness. Blake jumps in right after a seamless beat switch and stays within the topics pretty well while giving his own perspectives on his dealings with pain. He flows great, the writing shows promise, and his presence on the track is massive between the delivery and the energy brought to the table. I can almost feel the anger in my face, and that makes the track an easy standout in my opinion. Nearing the end, Citizen ultimately gives a heart-to-heart that brings us back down to reality, and more importantly, a realistic look on life and how hard it is to push aside your emotions. The message plays out well in its strung up feelings. The struggles of life-threatening thoughts, troubles with letting go, and feeling alone in general. He gets out his personal thoughts and reflects on what he's been through. The focus is what he has to get off his chest. It's therapeutic as much as it is disheartening from his point of view. The intimacy of the track alone is worthy of love with how far out there he put himself. The song feels more like the exit track, but actually plays into the final song, Sweet Dreamer, that further touches on this topic of witnessing pain and death. Love the sampling here with the soft jazz action to back it up. The foreground is left to the Citizen's pure rap ability. We get a sense of his substandard surroundings growing up. Friends losing their lives, loss of childhood, quick maturity, etc. As Citizen tries to present himself as a product of poverty and shortcomings, I can't help but feel a sense of facade at play when it comes to certain aspects he may touch on. I'm not one to speak on personal experiences and make assumptions, but some moments he raps about feel as if he's playing a character to extend and dramatize the theme of this album. Not saying any of these situations are impossible or fake for the record. When playing into a theme, there's nothing wrong with sprinkling whatever is needed to push a point. I just can't fully grasp its authenticity. When speaking on the project as a whole, it's impressive to see how versatile and creative the Citizen can get when digging into these ideal pockets. It's presented as short and sweet, heartfelt yet depressing. Touching on many points within depression as it goes on, you feel a closer understanding of the artists. And for a one-man band, I gotta give props to see someone so young breathe life into music, especially with the monotonous direction younger artists like to take nowadays. Lots of hard work goes into bringing together the production and everything along with it. The record feels like a taste of what the Citizen is really capable of, bringing about a personal subject with plausible cohesion. Some points in the beginning where I feel a bit underwhelmed, it picks itself up in the second half. I think overall, it's good efforts and holds up well within the Citizen's discography. That's about it.